joining us.
Oh, of course. I miss being in the store and seeing your faces in real life, but this will do.
Yeah.
Be over soon, hopefully, and we can get you in. So, Kelly, just start out, just briefly, tell us how you got involved with Charlotte's Web and a little bit about Charlotte's Web for those that don't know. I mean, it's probably the most well-known company out there, but if you want to just do a quick thing on Charlotte's Web.
Totally. I found out about Charlotte's Web because I'm from the retail world. I was working at Fresh Time Farmers Market, and Charlotte's Web was the first CBD that I ever took, and I took it for a migraine because I get them quite frequently. Yes, Palm. I'm sorry that you get them so much. Migraines are the worst. But yeah, I took it, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And then literally within like a half hour, I felt fine. And I mean, my life was changed ever since that, and then the more I started to find out about what this brand does, and then, fast forward to me getting a job with them, I'm just so stoked.
Yeah. You've been a really great addition to have, Kelly is what we call a technical rep that comes around to our stores, helps train us on the products, and just gives us that other view from the company's perspective. And it's just been a real joy to have you part of the team, so to speak, to be able to come in. And because so many times we want to relay the stories firsthand to our customers, and when we're doing things like this, or when you're in the store, it's a big help. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
On kind of a sad note, we just recently lost Charlotte, the young girl that the company's named after, passed about a month. Has it been a month now that she's been gone?
Yeah, around that time, I would say.
Well, since we talk about Charlotte, do you want to give us a 2 minutes, maybe a minute story about how, Charlotte's Web started?
Yeah. For those of that didn't see Sanjay Gupta's special or anything, maybe just a quick who the company's named after.
Yeah. So also I want to say that Charlotte's Web has a YouTube channel. So everybody go check that out. It's amazing. And there's tons of information on there as well. But the way that the company started was so serendipitous, and it's just a testament to, people being on certain paths, and we're all supposed to meet each other at certain times, right? The Stanley brothers were in the cannabis industry already, growing hemp, and they met Charlotte. Charlotte met them, and in that meeting, they were able to provide a tool for her to live a very high quality of life. And I think that's really, you were just talking about that. Like, that's what's so beautiful about CBD, is that it enhances people's quality of life, and it is a gift to be able to live comfortably, and at your most optimal level. And that's how these two became intertwined. Well, I mean, technically it's Charlotte and the seven brothers. So
Right.
yeah, it's such a beautiful happenstance, right? So
yeah.
cool.
So talk a little bit about I watched documentary on CNN. So Charlotte has this how do you call it?
Seizures, disorder.
Right, the disorder that she has. She had a lot of seizure. Like,
she had Dravet syndrome. Mm-hmm. It's a rare form of Dravet syndrome. It's a rare form of epilepsy.
Right, and through CBD oil, it does help. It had help reducing the frequency of her seizure. That's what I saw on the documentary. And I think do you know a little bit about this new FDA approved kind of CBD medications, Epidiolex? Am I pronouncing it correctly? but it has to be administered by a doctor. So this is like prescription. I don't know if you have heard about this, but the problem is that it is so very expensive, and they need to be prescribed and by a doctor. Do you have any further information about that?
I do not. I know that Epidiolex is a medication that is used for seizures.
Right, right. And I think that was just like kind of like a super CBD oil on steroid. Let's put it that way. But let's talk about Charles Webb CBD oil. What is the top selling product in Charles Webb brand?
I feel like there's a few SKUs. From my feedback, I know that the gummies are really, really taking off right now. And I mean, the tinctures are great too. Yeah, I know. I have the turmeric one
right here. The sleep.
Yeah, the sleep and then the calm. These are really great too.
Right.
The sleep are really, I've heard that the sleep, just from my interactions with customers, the sleep are one of the favorites. And I appreciate the gummies too, because it's such a thoughtful blend. It's, like each gummy has 5 milligrams of CBD, right? And then there's also, this blend of botanicals that kind of complements, and it's a nice little synergistic effect. And that's why I take the calm quite a bit, especially in these times.
Right. I think that's why the sleep gummies, we got phone calls and asked about sleep gummies, or people just, want to buy this. But at the same time, we have a story about a grandma who is, how old is she? Okay.
So the door swings open and in comes.
But this was what, like last year?
Last year, yes. In comes this 80-year-old man with a pretty good spring in his step. And he goes, I think maybe he was 82 or 83, early 80s. And he goes, I'm looking for some CBD lotion. And so we started giving him the education on it. And I said, well, you put it on a spot that might be, arthritic or sore or something, and just kind of massage it in. It's a lotion rather than the, he goes, well, no, it's for my mom. And so his mom is 104, and she's living in this residence in the area. And once they massage this into her shoulders, she has full range of motion. But until she has it, she just walks like this. And they've been coming in weekly, monthly
to get 2 tubes.
To get 2 tubes. And then they go over to mom's place. 80-year-old kids go over to mom's and rub it into her shoulders.
But there's a catch to this. So when they bought the first tube, they didn't ask. Second time, when they came back, they said, make sure there's no price tag on the tube, because I don't want my mom to know how much it is.
The 80 doesn't want a 104-year-old mom to know how much he's spending.
Because he said, my mom, I love her to death, but she's real cheap. If she sees the price, she will not use it.
Right. Well, you go back 104 years, things were different and everything. We got a technical question for you.
So,
kind of going in a different direction.
Here's the questions. Does CBD need to be taken more consistently to expect a result? I have tried CBD tincture intermittently for arthritis, but it hasn't seemed to help much. So how do you take it? Like, do you take it every day?
You want me to go first from my experience?
Yeah. So
technical thing.
Whatever you're feeling.
Well, personally,
go ahead. Sorry, there's some delay.
Yeah, that's all right. No worries. I have some, roaming around arthritis stuff, and I find that if I use it about 4 or 5 days in a row, that seems to take effect. If I just do it one day, especially a tincture, that just calms me a little bit, but it doesn't really do anything one day. for my arthritis. It has to be more consistent
Right.
thing several days. That's what I found out personally,
Right.
but I'll let you're professional, answer it.
No, I think that's a great answer. And, I always answer these kinds of questions with this answer. Every body is different, right? We all experience pain, stress, emotions in different ways. So it's all contingent on, like what you've done in that day to stress that arthritic condition. I also, it's consistency is key. So you do want to be consistent in your regimen. Something else to think about is, the way you're taking it. Sandra did explain about the length of time to hold it underneath your tongue, something that you have to consider. Another thing, factor rather, is that, if you're taking a certain milligram and it's not helping, or you feel like it's not helping, sometimes you have to move. And what's cool about our tinctures is that we have different milligrams, and we also, the milligrams are, there's CO2 extractions, and then there's an alcohol extraction. So you can kind of play around. And I also talk about, pain is such a tricky thing to manage. So I will say that I just bought a pair of roller skates and fell on my back, just smack down. And I have been taking the tincture and the recovery gummies and using the cream daily for the last 2 weeks, and that has been helping.
Right. I really think, like, for me personally, because I use it for, my migraine and I have this bad sinus allergies year round. So I have to use it every day to keep everything at bay, to have my body work the way it's supposed to. It kind of bring my system to a balanced state. I also recommend a lot of customers, because like you said, pain is such a tricky thing to address, especially for arthritis. This is how I explain to them. When you take the tincture or when you take the soft gel pill every day, it's really good in terms of help reducing the inflammation inside the system. It starts from your command center to say, hey, stop being hyperactive. So this is one thing to do. But also, if it happens that during the day you feel some discomfort, it's always good to have, like a topical, whether it's salve, the cream, whatever, to apply, on the spot. So I think the combo is really good. One thing I know is that when I start using CBD, I haven't been using any ibuprofen at all.
Right, good
And
point.
I think it's the best thing for me is to not using the chemicals. These are all natural stuff, natural extract. And for me, I feel that with the natural supplements, my body absorbs that better. Less side effect. Actually, there's no side. The only side effect is I sleep so good that night.
Yeah. I think that's an important point that Pam just made. A lot of our endurance athletes, a lot of our athletes use a lot of ibuprofen and anti-inflammatories that eventually are really bad for your system.
Right.
And I think this is just a more healthy way to do it, and we haven't been using that at all.
Right. I mean, all of these ibuprofen or pain reliever, it just affect your liver, it affect your kidneys and all
not
that.
good for you.
Yeah. So I think as long as, the more we can use anything that is naturally produced, I think it's the better it is for our system.
Kelly, before we let you go, we're going to refer back to a question that we gave to Sandra. What is the most unusual reason, this is from one of our guests, what's the most unusual reason someone wanted to use CBD oil that you've heard of?
I am blanking on
We're
that,
not
honestly.
X-rated,
I've gotten a lot of questions about, like why people should use it, or but the weirdest thing I can't think about, what that that makes me think about just what Sandra was talking about, like we get to share in people's journeys, and I have met so many people who take CBD for so many things, and I'm just so fortunate to be included in those conversations and in this realm, and to meet people like the both of you. And it's just so cool, like getting to live in this world of CBD and why people are taking it, you know?
That's
Great answer.
wonderful.
Good for you. Yeah, thank
Hey,
you.
really thank you so much for your time, and let's get through all this craziness together. And you know what? This make me sleep better.
Yeah. And we'll look forward to seeing you after the 30th once we get open again.
All right.
Yes, yes, yes. I cannot.
Thank you, Kelly.